So, welcome back to our reading circle of Suzuki Roshi's Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. This has been going on for quite a few months now, and we are about halfway through the book, maybe, a bit less. We're on the chapter called Zen and Excitement on page 57. So, really, the reason I'm engaging to begin with in this reading circle is to bow to Shunryu Suzuki, who, when I was a teenager, when I was very young, this was the first real introduction I had to Zen. It must be over 25 years ago. Actually more, it must be 30 years ago I read this book. And I reread it and I returned to it at many different times in my life, and so this is why I want to read this book in this reading circle. I want to pay tribute to Suzuki Roshi. So this book, I guess, means a lot to me in my personal reading history, my personal introduction to Zen. Zen and Excitement. So that's where we are today. Reading this morning, one paragraph really stood out to me. Zen is not something to get excited about. Some people start to practice Zen just out of curiosity, and they only make themselves busier. If your practice makes you worse, it is ridiculous. I think that if you try to do Zazen once a week, that will make you busy enough. Do not be too interested in Zen. When young people get excited about Zen, they often give up schooling and go to some mountain or forest in order to sit. That kind of interest is not true interest. Just continue in your calm, ordinary practice. So the real flavour of Suzuki Roshi's character coming through here again. The ordinariness, the lack of excitement around Zen. This chapter reminds me of people who I have encountered hosting sittings and running sittings here in Dublin in Ireland. Sometimes you get people coming and they want an out-of-body experience. They want almost like an acid trip. They expect this from Zazen, from meditation, that it will be almost like taking drugs, and that it will bring them out of their body into some sphere of hallucination. And they're very disappointed when I suggest that their Zazen will bring them back into their body and bring them down to earth, and that it is a very ordinary encounter with reality and ordinary reality, which of course is in its own way astounding and wondrous, but certainly this expectation that it should be an extraordinary, bizarre, out-of-body experience, that when this is expected, there's great disappointment. The previous chapter, repetition, in a way is tied to this chapter, because for our practice to continue, it is necessary that we continue in the spirit of repetition, and with the acceptance that our practice is part of our ordinary life. Initial enthusiasm in coming to practice is great and necessary. But when that initial enthusiasm passes, particularly if there's, after some months or years, a satori or kensho experience, and when that has passed, the hankering, first of all, to recover that experience and to recreate it, and when that doesn't happen immediately, to become disenchanted with the practice, or to feel that the practice has been achieved and now can be relinquished. So these are some of the patterns, I think, that many of us who practice Zen will see, particularly those of us who teach Zen will see over many years. So sticking with the ordinary, understanding that ordinary mind is the way, that is key, and that is what Suzuki Roshi is suggesting here in this chapter. He talks about it is necessary for us to keep the constant way. Zen is not some kind of excitement, but concentration on our usual everyday routine. So our practice is very possible, in fact, in our ordinary lives. And the ordinary context of our lives are the perfect conditions for practice. If your calling is to go to a monastery, all very well. But for most of us, particularly in Western societies, when we practice Zen, it will be in the context of working life, family life, within society. So Suzuki Roshi's vision of Zen practice here is perfectly in tune and in harmony with Zen as we practice it here in the West. In the middle of ordinary life, in the marketplace, if you will, in the last picture of the ox herding pictures, we see the return to human society. So our Zen is practiced in the midst of human society, in the midst of the noise and bustle of life. And this is our practice. In some ways, it's much easier to go to a remote forest or mountaintop, and there with great quietness, only worrying about the self, to sit in deep meditation. But in the middle of our busy lives, to practice Zen. This is the point that Shinryu Suzuki is making here. There's no secret in our way. Just to practice Zazen and put ourselves into the oven is our way. He loves this image of bread again, of the transformation of practice. And he reiterates this image of bread, of bread baking in not only in the repetition chapter, but also in this next chapter about Zen and excitement. He does warn, however, that our unexciting way of practice may appear to be very negative. This is not so. It is a wise and effective way to work on ourselves. It is just very plain. So our practice is very plain and very ordinary. And it is part of our lives. It beds down into our daily lives, like sleeping, like walking, like washing our teeth, like preparing a meal. This is our zazen. I find this point very difficult for people to understand. On the other hand, it may seem as if I'm speaking about gradual attainment. This is not so either. In fact, this is the sudden way, because your practice is calm and ordinary. Everyday life is enlightenment. So Suzuki Roshi says in this chapter that when Zen becomes part of this ordinary routine of life, that it works in us slowly, it transforms us slowly. But then he warns us that it is a mistake to see, therefore, that Zazen is a gradual path of transformation leading to some goal. No. It is just practicing every day. Just sit in the Zazen posture every day and be present. That's all. Do not attach to thoughts, let them come and go, to emotions, just whatever emerges in your sitting, let it emerge and let it pass. Let it emerge and let it pass. So, on the relative dimension of understanding, there will be some kind of change in us over time. But this is not the point. The point is that we practice today. And when today is tomorrow, we practice again today. Not to seek the great fireworks of the imagination, of Kensho, of the great enlightenment, the great Satori. That'll come, and it will go, and it will come, and it will go. There will be many Kenshos that will come and pass. We let them go, and we return to sitting here and now. This is the way that Master Suzuki teaches. This is the way that Master Dogen teaches. This is the ordinary way. So, just sit every day in your ordinary life. Zen and excitement, don't look for too much excitement. Don't look for the great hallucination, the great fireworks, the great Kensho. When it comes, it comes. If it comes, fine. If it doesn't come, fine. But it will come, and it comes and goes. Our daily bread, that's what Zazen is. Okay, next week next time we're going to move on to right effort on page 59. Whenever I get time. So I'll return to this book. Thanks for your attention. I hope some of you are sticking with this reading circle and enjoying some of my ramblings and meanderings and idiotic, often observations about Master Suzuki's text and teachings. So, thanks for your time and enjoy your practice.